Hi everyone, in this video we'll discuss password management. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see the latest content. Thanks. So in this picture, Alice uses the same password for all her accounts. This is known as password reuse. Now, what do you think of this behavior? Why do you think it is incorrect? Pause the video and reflect, then play the video again. Welcome back. Great, exactly. The reason this is incorrect behavior is because one breach exposes all her accounts. If an adversary has the password for one account, they can access all her other accounts. We all know the importance of passwords. They should be kept secret, confidential, and complex. This table on the right has the top 10 most common passwords in the United States according to NordPass. This means we should avoid these passwords as adversaries can try to use them to compromise accounts. This is why passwords should be complex. What is a complex password? A complex password has 16 plus characters. Passwords should be unique per account, so each account has a unique password. Never reuse passwords. Passwords should be a mix of lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols, and we should avoid common passwords. We could also use passphrases. Passphrases are genuinely random phrases consisting of several words. We should avoid predictable passphrases. We can also incorporate lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols, and just like passwords, passphrases should also be unique per account. Never reuse a password or passphrase. Now, how do we generate and store these passwords? This is where password managers come in. Password managers are applications that can generate and store passwords and passphrases. It is recommended to use a password manager extension instead of storing passwords in a browser. Another important tip is to avoid using online password strength checkers. You never know who created these websites. You could be handing your passwords to a malicious actor. Instead, you could use your password manager's built-in strength checker. If you cannot use a password manager, writing your passwords and passphrases in a notebook stored in a secure place is better than reusing a weak password. It is also a good idea to use multiple password managers. Using multiple password managers works as a good backup strategy. Make sure your passwords are kept up to date across all password managers you're using. If this is the first time you hear this advice, I know it could be overwhelming. Don't worry, this slide has the key takeaways and tips to avoid being overwhelmed. The essential points from this section are to use strong and complex passwords or passphrases. Avoid password reuse. Store passwords in a secure and accessible location. Avoid storing passwords in browsers and use a trusted password manager browser extension. To avoid being overwhelmed, you can implement changes step by step. You can migrate slowly. Make sure your new system works before you migrate fully to avoid lockout. Don't forget backups by using multiple password managers. Now we'll discuss an advanced tip: double-blind passwords. The idea is that in the rare case that a password manager is compromised, the password manager does not have the full password, so the adversary or malicious actor cannot compromise your account. You can apply this to highly sensitive accounts. You don't necessarily need to apply this to all accounts. So, in double-blind passwords, the password manager has a stored value. We'll call it password. And you will have another value that we'll call PIN. The PIN can be stored offline or memorized. When you create the password for your account, you concatenate the password from the password manager with the PIN that you stored offline or memorized. The value in the password manager plus the value of the PIN create the final password, which is the value used to log in into the account. The final password is what you'll put in the account when you create a password, when you log in, and as the current password when you want to update the password. So these are the steps. Create a password or passphrase using a password manager using the tips we mentioned before. We'll name it password. In memory or in another secure location, not the password manager that stores password, create a PIN. This PIN could be all numbers or alphanumeric. Memorize that PIN. We'll name that value PIN. In the desired account, when creating or updating the password, concatenate the password stored in the password manager and the PIN stored offline or in memory. Final password equals password plus PIN. Do not store the final password in the password manager or anywhere. The PIN can be stored offline or memorized or both. If you forget it or cannot access it, you cannot create the final password to log into your account. So if you forget the PIN, you cannot create the final password to log into your account. You can do this for some accounts that are absolutely critical. You do not need this strategy for all accounts. And again, this entirely depends on your threat model. Even if the password manager is compromised, attackers cannot get into the accounts with double-blind passwords, since they do not know the PIN. So now, this is Alice with the correct behavior. She uses unique passwords or passphrases and avoids password reuse. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.